What is up, everybody? Welcome to Behind the Streams. I'm as told by Dylan, and I am so excited to be here hosting the last episode of Behind the Streams for the year. And we've got a good one to go out on, man. We're going to be talking about video editing for streamers, all right? So video editors are some of the unsung heroes of the streaming world. Like for many content creators, it's extremely important to be able to take their live streaming content from the live platform to platforms like Twitter and YouTube. And so getting hours and hours of streams condensed down into more like digestible chunks requires the skill of a very talented video editor. And it just so happens that we have not one, not two, but three super talented editors with us today to talk about their work and provide some insight into what it's like to work with and for content creators. So let's go around the room and introduce you to these wonderful people, starting with OG, the OG. You gotta put the "the," right? You gotta put the "the" before the OG, right? Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourself and who you're working with.
Well, hi, my name is TheOGBojangles. I'm a video editor for content creators, but also a streamer myself. I've been video editing for about 3 years, but working with content creators for about 2 or so now. My very first client was Yahoy, and I went to Skittles, who just changed her name to Scoodles, so I've been working with her the longest. I also work with Miss Ash Rocks, Belbasora, Quiet Achievement, and a few others. There's a decent amount of people that I've worked with, and either once or every month, since I like doing, monthly clip compilations and all that. But it's something I love to do. It's one of my favorite things to do besides streaming itself, and I just want to keep doing it. So, and thank you for having me here, by the way.
Oh, no, thank you for being here. I'm so excited. That's a murderer's row of awesome creators you've worked with. That's great. Dimoak, what about you? Tell us about yourself, and who are you currently working with?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been editing for, so long now. I think like 7 years or something. And I've been working in the kind of content creation space for like the last 3 or so. But right now I'm currently working with Elspeth, Little Sia, Kate Stark, Noel Miller, and Jesse Cox, and a whole slew of projects for them, ranging from everything from just standard YouTube videos, clip highlights, all that. So, but yeah, it's been a lot.
That's awesome, man. And last but certainly not least, and Kip, you know what? I didn't intentionally make you last because you showed up last to the call. That was not intentional.
Wow, call out.
I'm just working down my list here. I'm sorry, Kip.
You're actually exposing me here. What the heck?
A little bit. Kip, tell us about yourself and who you're currently working with, buddy.
Hi, I'm Kip. I'm the guy that you've seen those little edits do on the videos. I have worked for a lot of people. Currently, I mainly work for Bloody Faster, Mick Haley, Kira Corellia. Oh god, I'm like blanking here. Dawn Whisper, Snowlit, Call Me Kevin. Who am I missing here? Charlie Hudson. And I feel like I'm missing someone here. This is going to be bad. No pressure. But yeah, I'm working for a lot of people. And this is my dream job. And I'm so happy that I'm doing it. And I'm so happy to be talking about it here. So hi, everyone.
Absolutely. It's so good to have you guys here because, like I said, one of the things we talk about when on the show is all the sort of the unsung heroes that go behind making a stream or a content creator or content creation what it is. And for live streamers, getting all that content from Twitch or from their YouTube channels to Twitter or whatever platform it is. And, when you guys see clip reels and highlight reels of your favorite streams, someone had to edit that. And these three folks here are some of the people behind some of your favorite clips and favorite streams. So I want to start, Dimoak, with you. How did you first get into video editing? And while you answer that, I do want to show, if we can, a little bit of a kind of a clip reel of all your work while we talk about this. So how did you get into editing, Dimoak?
For sure. So it started when I was a kid and I wanted just to make movies. And then I was like, oh man, I have to edit these too. And so that was like really early on, back when I was like 13. And then I just kept making more and more, just completely garbage YouTube content, but it's still out there. But I made more and more of that and just kind of honed my skills as an editor. And I grew to really kind of like more the production side of things, producing and editing. And so that kind of really led me into being like, okay, well, how do I transition this? And how do I do this for a web-based audience, which is something that I've always wanted to do just because of the close nature of it and the flexibility and creativity of freedom given to you. So kind of started a long time ago and then just slow build. And then, I got lucky, that first job, and that's really all you need. We get that first one, and then your connections build, and that's where I got to where I am today. So
awesome, man. What about you, Kip?
I could tell that I wanted to be an editor from very, very young, because I remember back when I was a little child, I would have these Lego sets, and I would go around with my Windows 98 webcam making shots around them when I was like 5 years old. And like from then I could tell that I had like a passion for like making videos and stuff. And then back in like 2008, I became a YouTuber and did these really awful Garry's Mod videos. But you know, it was the origin of my video editing talents. And since then, I've just had a passion for it, and I worked so hard for it. And then about 3 years ago, I became a video editor officially, and I've been having such a good time with it.
That's awesome. And OG?
I feel like out of the three of us, I'm kind of like the baby of the group in a way with like editing, because I only started like 3 years ago, and it came from kind of just like a little bit of a shot in the dark a little bit, because I originally liked doing some filming. I just like, you know, as you guys mentioned, you do silly YouTube videos with your friends and everything. That was also me, but I kind of, after adventuring in college a little bit and completely changing my major from one thing to video editing primarily, I've come to like that aspect of film and video, really the post-production side of it, the editing. So I just graduated this past May in post-production for film and video, which thank God, you know, I'm done with school. Like, I don't want to go in again, no more. So, but only for about like 2 or so years, 2.5 maybe. I've been doing, you know, things with content creators and streamers. And yeah, I mean, as I went along with it, like, if, of course, we can all say if we go back to when we first started comparing ourselves to now, like, we can see so much growth with that. And I can, you know, surely say, like, I wouldn't see myself even a year ago, like, doing the things that I'm doing now. So, like, I like doing a lot of, you know, edits, but I also like making video intros and After Effects and everything like that. And that's probably, like, you know, some of my favorite stuff to do. But yeah.
No, it's awesome. Actually, you made me wonder, does anyone have like their first videos that you still have them saved? Like your initial videos that you ever made?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, mine are still on YouTube, but I don't want them to be out there.
So that history's out there. We can go find those then.
They're very easy to find, but you know, I don't want to just like, hey, let's show them on video right here, right now. Like that would be so.
Well, it just so happens. Go and take it away.
Oh my God.
Like it's one of those, you know, those old Garry's Mod videos where it's like screenshot. And back then, like I didn't know how to cut, because I had like a machine gun firing, but I didn't know how to get the silences out. So it was just a machine gun firing 5 times, 1 second apart.
Oh my God.
So you can really tell that, like, I mean, you don't need 12 years experience to learn that, but you can tell like from how little you can come to how far you can come.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering, you know, because now with YouTube being so prevalent, it's been around what, 15 years or something now. Were there any editors or creators that you guys that were like inspired y'all to want to edit videos at all, Dimoak?
Sure. I mean, if we're going back, I mean, original, like I used to watch Smosh all the time. And I was always very impressed by the like effects work that they used to do in some of their very early skits and stuff. You know, now when you look back on, you're like, oh, that's so bad. But for the time being on YouTube, I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, how do they do that? And so that was definitely a huge inspiration for me. But there were several, I mean, even like a few years ago, or not a few years ago, but like, you know, a little bit more recent, Inside Gaming, who later became Funhouse, huge inspiration for me. Working for them, you know, has always been like, well, it was like a big goal of mine. And then I've kind of reassessed and wanted to do other things, but their style and their comedic elements and tone really kind of led me to be like, oh, this is so cool. I want to be able to do that and be funny and make good content. So kind of led in that same vein. So yeah. Absolutely.
OG, anybody inspire you?
Honestly, I guess I don't really have like as much of a story as you just said just before. I don't know. I mean, I kind of just went again back in when I was, you know, really in just community college when I made the switch over. Again, it was a drastic switch. I almost went to culinary school, and then I changed to video editing. So it's a complete 180, you know. So, yeah. But I guess I don't have any sort of like specific like inspiration or anything, but for years I've been a huge Rooster Teeth fan. So a lot of, the post-production for Achievement Hunter and just in Rooster Teeth itself, I love those guys. They're just like, I learned, I guess, not necessarily learned, but I watched them do like different sort of styles. And I guess I kind of like just admired it and so I guess like that kind of came in, that kind of stuck with me, but nothing really like specific, nothing really no true, I guess, inspiration. It's not like, I watched like movies and I was like, I want to do that. No, I just kind of full sent it and I liked it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I guess there's no like certain inspiration, but I guess little things here and there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Kip, what about you? Anybody inspire you or any particular styles that caught your attention? Said I want to kind of do that.
Funnily enough, Achievement Hunter was a huge one for me as well. Like I'm still a huge Achievement Hunter fanboy. And then another thing that really inspired me, and I know I'm going to give a lot of nostalgia to people if they know it, the Shadow of Israfel series of the Yox cast was a massive inspiration for me. And then nowadays, I still have a YouTuber that massively inspires me, who's called Melody Sheep, who does like these amazing space documentaries. And I'm trying to learn to be like him now. And from styles, I'm not really sure. I think I just kind of developed my own style back when I was a YouTuber back then. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of stuck with it, and it just really worked well for Twitch for some reason. So yeah, I just kind of did my thing and just tried to adapt to like what works for Twitch, because you want to try to, with Twitch, you want to try to show as many different clips as possible in a rapid way without like boring people in a way.
Yeah.
So you want to have like, kind of short bits, but still have the context and stuff. So you got to have a certain style that works well with Twitch, and I feel like I did develop that, but like early in my YouTube days already.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's a perfect segue because I wanted to talk a little bit about that, about your process for each of you, like how you actually go about making something, especially when, for the clips you've shown of like Twitter videos, things like that. So Kip, starting with you, like when you're putting something together for a streamer, say for Twitter, which you're prolific at, how does that, talk about that process. Take me through that. How does that all work? How long does it typically take you to do something like that? And how do you get all the clips and all that?
Usually I ask people to send me their own clips. So usually people will send me like a list like, hey, I have these clips. I want you to make a video out of it. And people know that by now that my personal strength is comedic timing and writing a story in a certain video. So for example, McKaylee will give me like 5 different clips of like Animal Crossing and be like, hey, can you connect these together into like an artificial story and just create something out of it? So she gives me the clips, I plonk them into Premiere, and I do my thing. And I have no idea what's going to come out of when I start, but I just watch the clips. I just see like, oh, this links with that, this links with that. Oh, she mentioned that character there as well. So I just start making the story in my own head, and then it just all happens magically. Like it's weird. Like I always say, like video editing is kind of like telling a story in front of a campfire. Like you can tell a story in many different ways, but it will always be the same story. And I think that's the beauty about video editing, that it can be so different and be the same at the same time, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's a great way of putting it. And if you've never seen these clips that he's talking about, especially the Meg clips, go to Meg Kaylee's Twitter and just scroll down. They are absolutely incredible. Like I laugh like so hard every single time. Dimoak, what about you? What's your process like when you're working with a streamer or content creator, and like how does that go for you?
Sure. I actually have several different workflows, just depending on who I'm working with. And I've kind of just adapted it based on the time they have available and the resources they have at their disposal. For example, let's take like Kate Stark. She's amazing when I get stuff from her, because she has an amazing mod team that will compile all the clips. They'll label them for me. It's so nice. I just get a spreadsheet, and then I work off that spreadsheet. And I kind of look for a different like flow of things. I look for some funny, some serious, some show that like, maybe it's like a heartfelt moment or something, and kind of mix all that into those clip compilations. And again, everything, I feel like it doesn't matter what video you're editing either. I feel like everything's kind of a story as well. So I always approach that with the number one goal in mind, like what story am I trying to tell here? Because even with clip compilations, there's a start point and an end point. And so where do you start from and where do you go from? And I think there's a lot of ways to do that, and kind of showcase some sort of story that you create, and maybe the audience doesn't get it, but either way, there's a through line for you. And I feel like that really helps a lot with editing. But again, every creator I work for actually has a completely different workflow. Some will just dump me VODs. Others will give me, a whole spreadsheet. Others will be like super detailed and be like, I want this second from this part in this. And I'm like, okay, all right. So, I think being flexible is a huge part of it too.
Yeah. Now, do you have a preference, like whether you would prefer they give you as much information as possible, correct?
Oh, actually, you know what? It's
or
funny.
the opposite.
I actually prefer the opposite. Okay. I would rather them just give me a VOD and say, make something out of this, because then I can tell my own story with it. You know what I mean? I can really craft it however I want it to be, right? And kind of guide it in that way. So that's actually kind of why I enjoy that way the most.
Okay.
But yeah, just personal preference,
Yeah, and I'm hearing a through line between the two of you talking about like trying to create a story with these clip reels. OG, what about you?
Yeah, I guess in a big way, I'm in the same boat. I guess when it comes to me and just who I work for and everything, a lot of it is, a lot of clip compilations. Lately, actually, there's been more like highlight reels and like trying to edit those down to make like get those funny, good moments and show that off. Since Among Us has been a very popular game, that's been a popular choice with people. They love, so this is my solo imposter kill run. This is my, this is me and my boyfriend doing it, and we want to, capture that in a video. So yeah, and definitely a big way story plays a huge part in that. And so with those, I would try to follow it as best as I could, get those really funny moments, get those moments of like, you see the streamer shaking in their seat because they know that those people are onto them about being an imposter, etc. But for a lot of who I work with, I'm either the one to hunt for those clips if they want a compilation, or lately a lot of people have been saying like, hey, these are the clips that I want, put something together. And I guess like with everyone, I kind of have even like a similar style. Of course, like they have different content and everything, but funny moments are funny moments, and you can express them in different ways or the same ways with just like a really dramatic, a zoom or something, like the dramatic zooms always get people, like they love that. So I guess that's, I kind of take, and I don't do the same thing with everyone, but I definitely, when it comes to different types of content, whether again, it's chopping up a highlight or getting different clips and putting them in a compilation, they're going to have those still like those same sort of aspects to them, just to, again, emphasize the funny, because that's what I love to do. I like making people laugh through my editing. That's pretty much the main thing. And that's what I hope to get out of it. I want to make people laugh, and that's like the main thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how did you all kind of touch on this a little bit earlier, but how did you all first get started working with a streamer to actually work with them on creating a highlight for them? What was your very first experience? Like, how did you actually get that opportunity? Start with you, OG.
So I guess like, I think we can all say in the beginning that when we were trying to market ourselves, we weren't the best at it, because we underpriced ourselves, or, we didn't give ourselves enough credit. That's, with me, I kind of like posted about it. Like, I really want to do this because I guess I was just seeing more and more people, create content through other people's content, editing their content and making something of their own, even though it is still that person's. And I kind of just wanted to go down that road because, again, I love editing and I love streaming. So I wanted to collide the worlds together and, try to make something good happen. And I think as of right now, I think I've made something good happen, which is good with me. So
why you're here.
Yeah, right. So,
exactly.
But yeah, I guess like I kind of like made one of those posts, like it was kind of like vague and just like, does anyone need anything? So I had someone come along. She again was my first one, Yahoy. She's an amazing streamer. And I guess just we were just talking. I guess that's one of the main things that I really like to do. I like to make sure like this is what I'm doing for you. I want to make sure that you know what I'm doing for you. And as I've, gone along with doing commissions and everything, that's it's pretty important to me. It's just like, I want to like, let you know, this is, what I'm going to be doing. If you don't want me to do something like what I said, then, tell me. But yeah, I guess just in the beginning, it started with that, and probably I really started like really cracking down on it. I would say honestly, like 2 or 3 months ago, really putting myself out there and really advertising myself and really, trying to get my gears going because I love this. This is again one of my favorite things. I love working with streamers. I love working with content creators.
The passion.
Yeah, and like I can very much say that Kip has helped me, so much in that department. He's been a beautiful being. We love him. So he's been such a help. And he's been really kicking my butt. So
that's awesome. Dimoak, what about you? Yes. Dimoak, what about you? What was your first experience like working with a streamer, and how did that go about happening?
Sure. So I guess technically streamer mostly did work on YouTube though, was Jesse Cox. And that just came about when I was applying for jobs like crazy. And I think I was at somewhere like 200. And I remember I had sent this application to Jesse and we had done an interview and I was so stoked and I hadn't heard back from him. And so I finally like reached back out. I kind of pestered him a little bit and he hired me. And that has opened up every single opportunity I have right now. So it's kind of funny how that works out because through Jesse, I started following Elspeth, and then Elspeth said she would need an editor. So I applied for that when I left working for Jesse full-time and moved more to a part-time role. And then from Elspeth, Kate contacted me. And then, so it was just this whole thing of, this kind of getting the ball rolling. But I think the number one thing that like really pushed me and kind of helped me establish that first job is definitely getting a solid and good reel together. That was something I had put off. I had a reel, but it wasn't very good. And I think making that short 1 minute reel is just huge, like life-changing for anything that you can get, because it takes a lot of work to really get your best stuff out there and together and make it a cohesive and, snappy edited thing. But once you get that already opens up so many opportunities with so many people, because everyone who's looking for an editor wants to see stuff, they don't want to hear you talk about it. They want to see what you can do, so you really got to showcase that. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on that a little bit later too. Kip, what about you? How did you get your first start with like working with content creators?
Before I say anything, I just want to say to future editors, don't do what I did because I did the one sin that people should not do. I was already friends with a bunch of streamers and I went around like, hey, in their PMs, like, hey, do you need an editor? I just started. Like, you don't want to do that. Don't do that because that gives a bad impression. But eventually, when I was still like, I was doing like a couple of free videos even to like just get my name around. And eventually I just heard from my friend Kira Corellia, hey, in my stream team, there's someone called Lady Adarissa who's looking for a video editor. And so she passed my name to her, and apparently she really liked what I did. And from then on, it just snowballed. Like it's always out, that one person you need to have. Yeah. That just really makes everything roll. And like, and the word of mouth on Twitch is also really powerful with this job. Like you just need to have one person to spread the word, and like it will spread like wildfire. I started working for Lady Adarissa, then for SKCN, and things just kept going and going. Eventually, until I started working with Call Me Kevin, which was like my big break. And since then, things are just like working out for themselves, really. So, but don't do what I do. Don't do that.
Duly noted. That's a good thought there, though. So, for someone who's trying to get into like working with content creators, they're maybe they've been editing videos on their own, but now they're like, how can I get to work with the streamer or maybe get commissions? So like, should you ever create clips and like make editing pieces for free as just show off like what you can do? Like if you've never worked with someone before, Dimoak, you were kind of talking about this, like how do you go about actually making like something, like you just like find a streamer that you like, you say, hey, I'm gonna put something together for them and show them this?
Sure. I think that the best way to do it is to I honestly believe in making something for yourself. And perhaps that's contacting with one of your friends or something, or working off some piece of old content. But if you have truly nothing and you're starting at ground zero and you want to edit something to showcase to somebody, just find something that you've either done or that's widely popular, and then, edit it and make it your own and make something unique out of it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about, blindly making something for somebody and hoping it catches their eye. I think a lot of the time beginning video editors use a lot of their time trying to showcase themselves in a lot of different ways, when that time could be, diverted into other areas and stuff. I know from personal experience, I spent a lot of years just making stuff with the hopes that someone would see it, but not trying to get someone to see it. I think there's an active difference there, versus, going out there and trying to find these jobs versus, just hoping that they passively come to you. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that. It's a hard one.
No, I got you loud and clear. Okay. For someone who, again, wants to get into this space with what you guys are doing, you guys are making videos for content creators. What are some suggestions for how to go about like networking and putting their work out there, or putting together, is it maybe a portfolio, or maybe they go on YouTube and put this stuff out there? Are there any specific resources or places where they can put their stuff out there? OG, let's start with you on that. Like, how do let's say I want to work for Streamer X that's in chat right now. How do I go about doing that?
I guess it's really kind of hard if you want to go do like that sort of route. I guess as if you want to kind of, be a video editor for content creators, I don't think you should really focus on going for that one person. Like you see, like, this is like, oh, that's your favorite streamer. Like maybe they need a video editor, but like I haven't done like a lot of work. Don't like shoot for the stars immediately. You have to build up. A year ago, I didn't have a reel for my, all the stuff I've been doing for content creators. You have to kind of build it up, make a reel of just, things you've made for yourself. Even if you don't have anyone else, start with yourself, make clip compilations of your channel if you're a streamer, and put it on YouTube and share it with your Twitter and have people retweet it saying, hey, this is what I do. This is what I like to do. Here's an example of doing it for myself. I did that, and then time really got the better of me, and I have not made a lot of clip compilations for myself, but it still it still gave me experience. You have to really learn what you're, I guess, kind of just learning what you're doing, through Premiere, through whatever you're using, Final Cut, anything, and just trying to, because you're not gonna have like a set style right away. Even now, I think we can all say that our style has kind of grown through the years, and we've changed doing things. Like I could, even this whole year, even if, again, looking back a year, I didn't do some of the things that I'm doing now. And in a way, you're kind of just like, I should have been doing that longer, but you're learning, you're applying the things you've learned to what you're doing now. So if you're, I guess, you can't really just immediately shoot for the stars. You really have to kind of build from the ground up. Start putting your stuff on YouTube. YouTube is huge. It's, someone may catch it and like keep watching those videos. Put it on Twitter. Have your friends retweet it. Just be like, please retweet, please. Like your close friends. That is, like, you don't be the people who it seems like they have like the word like as a notification on Twitter, because if you say like, I need a graphic designer, hey, like I'm in your DMs immediately, I'll do your stuff. Like there's a lot of those like kind of bot kind of things where it's just like, I'll do it for you for $5. It's like, no, don't do that. That's not, you shouldn't be kind of sneaking into people's like comments and stuff and be like, check me out, but not provide anything. A lot of those are saying like, I can do this, but they don't show it. It's kind of a hard like sort of question in a way, because you don't, again, as much as you want to like work for someone, if I could pull a name out of the hat, like working for a bigger streamer like Tim Tapman would be so much fun. And like his editing team, I've like have followed and have talked to, and just getting like advice from them, that's always something to start with as well. But I guess content wise, you just kind of, if you don't have anyone else to do it for yourself.
Absolutely. Kip, any networking suggestions or putting your portfolio together?
I actually started to discover like the past year, like 2 little tricks that like currently work really well. Currently the trends are just the Twitter clips, honestly. Like Twitter clips are going to be amazing for, and I know people are going to hate the word exposure. Like if you make a Twitter clip and people tweet it out, like that's going to get a lot of traction, and your name is going to be with it, because usually people are like, hey, edited by blah blah blah, and they follow you. And I like, since I started doing those Twitter clips for Bloody Faster and McHaley, like my DMs just blew up. Like I just immediately got so many requests to do videos, and so that would be my like, if you really wanted to try to grow, like that would be a good way to go at it. Like try to focus on those Twitter clips, because that's just currently what really makes you grow. And then also something I discovered is if you want to like start small, you could go into the Twitch Discover section and actually just go to streamers with like less than 10 viewers. And whenever you see in the description, like, oh, they have a YouTube, you're like, hey, so you have a YouTube, do you do video editing? And then usually they'll be like, oh, no, I don't have the time for that. I wish I could do it. And then you're like, hey, so I do video editing, you know? And I noticed like even without me wanting to be hired or something, like people kept like, you know, with those 10 less viewers, like that kind of category, like they all wanted to hire someone. So so there's definitely a lot of job potential there if you really wanted to start out there. And again, you just need to have that one person who's just going to blow up, and is going to take you with them, you know, like, so if you really want to start out editing, just go and hang out in some small streams. You never know what's going to happen. So that would be my 2 best tips, I would say.
Absolutely. And so if you have any questions in chat for these editors, if you're someone who wants to get into editing, or you're really curious about it, or you're struggling, this is a really good time to ask some questions, because these people are super talented. And I kind of wanted to get into some of your advice as far as like, you know, for people who are trying to get into video editing. What are some, maybe let's say they can't afford a full-on editing suite, what are some low-cost tools, or maybe some tools that they can get accustomed to working with before they jump to the Premiere Pros and things like that? Dimoak, or any tools or any software that you would recommend people use, or people to watch maybe even?
Sure. Honestly, if you're a student, Premiere or Adobe still has that student subscription. Not that bad. You can get it real cheap. They still offer that free month, and that's a good way. And then also, if you're not, you're really strapped on cash, you don't have any money to spend, I do think Davinci Resolve is a great program to start on. It's free. And then it also has a lot of advanced tools and a lot of like easier, more cutting tools. I know a lot of people that started on Davinci Resolve and moved, or still are on Davinci Resolve because they love it so much. And it's also phenomenal for color grading. So it's got a lot of good sides to it. But yeah, that's definitely the #1 program I'd recommend, just for like a free suite of tools that you can use that are going to be equivalent to a Premiere or a Final Cut.
Absolutely. Kip, what about you? Any tools, tools of the trade?
To be honest, I have no idea. I always started on Premiere, so I never actually worked with anything else. So I know Sony Vegas is just like, you know, a one-time payment and you have it forever. So that could be a good alternative. Like I know most YouTubers use Sony Vegas. But yeah, I always kind of stuck between Sony Vegas and Premiere. I don't really have anything else. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Yeah, and someone mentioned in chat, and this is actually a great suggestion, keep an eye on Humble Bundles too, because they're always like selling software for like super cheap if you're looking for something just to start with. If you can't afford the Premiere Pro or anything like that, yeah, check out Humble Bundles. Well, OG, any tools of the trade that you would recommend someone who's just getting into video editing might want to use?
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of hit it on the head a little bit. Just, you know, Davinci Resolve is really like becoming super popular because it is a free program, but it's nice. It's a very nice program. You can do a lot in it for just the base free version. So that's definitely something to really look into. Any sort of software that you can grab your hands on. You don't need the top tier sort of stuff. At the end of the day, editing is editing, and if you can make something out of whatever you're doing, then you're doing well. So I think, definitely Davinci Resolve, Sony Vegas. Again, I was going to mention the Humble Bundle things. The person in chat beat me to it. But there's a lot of software on there that usually goes on sale for like half off or more. Just like Kip, I've been Premiere heavy, so Adobe has been like my best friend a few years now. But
Absolutely. We got a question in chat. Are there any audio tools that maybe you use in conjunction with your video editing at all? Anyone?
So bad at audio.
Me too. I'm awful.
I just honestly, as much as I hate Premiere because it's a program that has more bugs than anything else in the world, but it is the program.
Mhm.
Actually, do all my audio in Premiere because most of the same tool for general audio work, which is just making it sound better, putting some filters, and condensers on it and stuff. You can do most of that in Premiere itself without having to extract it to Adobe's program. Which is Audition. So I usually try and keep everything in Premiere if I can, because I like a singular workflow. So I usually do that. But again, if you want to do something more fun with audio, say you have a really unique idea in mind, or you don't have access to like Premiere and audio tools, I don't know how they are on Davinci or anything else. I haven't used them in a while.
Mhm.
Audacity is always a great way to go. There's plenty of tutorials for Audacity as well that you can look up to get easy, quick, and simple fixes to audio and effects and whatnot. So Audacity is going to be the number one. It's free, besides that.
Editor on a budget.
Yes, absolutely. And we have another question. Any particular special hardware that you would recommend anyone use, whether it's edit keyboards, shuttle, maybe even monitors? How many monitors?
Yeah, I would say as many monitors as possible. I got 3 ultra wide screens over here, and I still don't feel like I have enough space. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think what Kip said too, like monitors is definitely the way to go for an editor. I've had one boss that made me use this really weird mouse. He's like, it helps you so much with workflow. I'm like, no, this is terrible.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to bring in my own mouse if this is what I have to use. So like, I don't know. I find a lot of the editing things are pretty gimmicky to me, and I don't ever find a use for them, So yeah, I would say just monitors are the big thing. You want to make sure you have a good setup where you can display all of your windows and whatnot.
A nice chair.
Yeah.
As well. If you're gonna be full time, whether it be 2 part-time jobs or a really full-time job, you have got to invest in a very nice ergonomic chair, because I just got rid of a gaming chair in place of this ergonomic one, and I'm like, woo, so much better. Yeah. Other than that, again, like I started with like 2 monitors, and I was like, a third one would be really nice. And
more.
I need more. Like, so
right. Yeah. Once you got 3, you're like, this is still not enough.
Give me 4.
I don't have any more room. I can't have another monitor. So that definitely storage. You need a good amount of storage if you really want to like external hard drives. If you want to keep your stuff, which you should, honestly, keep your projects, keep your stuff, get some big boy hard drives with a lot of space. So but yeah, no, chair, monitors, storage. This is my definite recommendation.
That's the checklist. That's the editor's checklist.
If you can, a standing desk would be amazing. I have a standing desk, and I edit half the time while standing up. And I would also say, like, make sure that the keyboard and mouse is really comfortable. And because if you have a bad keyboard, your edits are going to be slowed down. Like, you got to have, like, if you get a different keyboard for like a day, you'll edit be like half the speed. Like, you need to be comfortable and feel that speed of the mouse. Like, we need to do a lot of movements with our mouse, and we need to be used to it and stuff. So you got to have a good workstation, basically.
Definitely.
That's like super important, right? So what kind of things, you guys talked about a little bit earlier about developing your style. What are the little things you can do to make your video work kind of stand apart or stand out? Because there's a lot of people out there making videos and content. How do you kind of define your style and a style that's unique to you? OG, what about you?
I guess in terms of like the one I can really mainly talk about is probably just like video intros, because whenever I do a video intro for someone, I really look at their personality. I really look at what their sort of like theme is. If it's like, Miss Ash Rocks, you got Pink, loves pink, and you also have Winnie the Pooh like in there as well. So you're not taking just like directly their themes, but also taking in their personality, and just if they're like vibrant and they're really funny and everything, you kind of just have to implement that in some way within like an intro. So I guess like in terms of those, I really love doing video intros. So I really like just looking at the person, seeing just how they work, like who they are, etc. Just trying to put their personality within there. So I definitely think like hopefully I would stand out for that way, but just in editing in general, it can be hard sometimes to kind of just like just kind of in some ways, if it's going to be a funny sort of bit, like make it over the top and try to like stand out in that way. I've been trying to do just like more to whatever I have, just as especially like this year, just doing different things and thinking outside the box a little bit more, just again to try to stand out from other people. What do I have to offer that other people don't? And it's hard. It's learning honestly from other people, and honestly just seeing like, what are these people doing? You're not copying them, but you're like, okay, you can take that as sort of inspiration and going from there. So it can be difficult, but definitely achievable.
Yeah. Inspiring you to inform your own particular style, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Dimoak, what about you? How do you kind of like, what are the little things that you do that's kind of like your personal touch, that, you know, your personal rhythm, if you will?
Sure. So I believe in really quick edits, such as when I get a clip, I personally don't like there to be a lot of downtime where nothing's going on. I like it to be fast and engaging, and I think that works really well for a lot of audiences. They respond to that really well. So that's kind of like my number one go-to. And I think the big thing a lot of people have to always overcome, especially when you start out or you're trying to develop your style, is imposter syndrome is really big as a video editor. All of us, I know me personally, feel all the time like I'm terrible at what I do and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, why are these people hiring me to do this? But that's just something you got to, you know, if somebody's hiring you or they're praising your work or they're saying good job, you know, then take that, you know, that they're being genuine with you. They're not going to lie to you. You know, they want good content too. And even for yourself, just edit something that you think looks good. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. It's not going to be terrible. I think really just sticking with what you think is going to be good and following that through is just important. And don't let that imposter syndrome get to you too much. So.
Absolutely. And Kip, what about you? Like developing your style, and what little things can you do to make your Kip videos more Kippy?
So I have these 2 basic rules that I try to stick to. One is, like you said, you want to try to make it as snappy as possible. So I try to keep the rule, make it as fast-paced as possible while keeping the context. Like context is still really important. You don't want to be like, oh, this happens, but why did it happen? I don't know. Like people saw it on the stream, but people who see it for the first time don't. So you want to try to keep that context, but still try to make it as short as possible to show as many different moments as possible in one video. Then the other thing that I try to keep in mind is what I call the golden triangle, which is memes, titles, and zooms. And you want to have a nice balance between the 3 of them, because if you start doing too much of it, you start getting into the over-editing category, which you really don't want to do. So if you really, like me, I like to use a lot of zooms. So I barely use any titles or memes because I know if I start adding those in the mix as well, I'm going to get into the over-editing category. So I just try to stick to one thing. And if people, like I know Snowlit, for example, ask me like, hey, can you add a few subtitles here and there? So I limit my zooms a little bit. It's kind of like, you know, a bar where you're like, you need to have that mix and you can't go over the bar, if that makes sense. Also, I quickly want to touch on that imposter syndrome. Like, I know that is very, very real. And that's why when you were hired by Elspeth, I don't know if you remember this, but I actually tweeted you immediately with your first video, like, hey, you did a great job. Because like I personally also applied for that job and I was so happy for you. And I want to make sure that like, I know she probably had like a bunch of applications and you were probably intimidated. So I want to be like, hey, you're doing a great job, man. So I want to make sure to reach out for that.
Yeah.
So, like I do want to mention like, no editor is better than the other. I feel like people are just better at a different style. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, let's say, you know, I have the editor next to me of Game of Thrones. Like, obviously, people would say he's probably a better editor. But give him a highlight reel, and he's probably like, what am I doing here? You know, like, everyone's just better in their own style.
Adam's element,
yeah,
right?
People are just better at their own style, but there's no better editor, I would say. And I want new people to keep that in mind. Don't be intimidated by people who do this for a long time, because who knows? You might be very good at something I'm very bad at. If you're good at audio, you're a lot better at that than I am, because I'm awful at that. So yeah, so don't let yourself be discouraged by the people that have a lot of experience, because you're gonna make it your own way, and you just gotta make your own style, and you're gonna do it that way.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
No, that's awesome. So we can't not talk about the four-letter elephant in the room, DMCA. It's been a hot topic lately in the streamer sphere. So as video editors, where can you find resources like sound effects and music? How do you kind of navigate like licensing, or do you consider those things when creating a video for a streamer? Because you guys, I know some of you guys like to use music and things like that. Dimoak, how about you? How do you deal with that? And where can people find sounds and any clips and copyright free things?
Sure. So YouTube Audio Library is where I get all my music. It's all royalty free. It's a great resource. It's free to use. And there you can just search anything, mood, if you just want like a style or something. And a lot of creators don't even know that it exists, but YouTube's been building onto it. And there's like thousands and thousands of songs on there now. So definitely use that if you need music. Phenomenal resource and completely free, and all royalty free as well. For sound effects, I am very lazy compared to what I used to be. Now I usually just source things from YouTube. I'll just find the sound effect and I'll grab it, because for most sound effects, you're never going to get that DMCA claim because it's too short, right? It's a second, it's 2 seconds, and they're widely used. Everyone uses them, right? So they're really quick to find. In the past, I have used Audio Blocks, which is a monthly subscription service. But the nice thing about Audio Blocks is you can subscribe for 1 month, download everything you want, and you can still keep it royalty free after your subscription ends. So if you want to bulk up, that is one way to do it. You can just grab Audio Blocks, get everything you think you might need, keep it somewhere in a hard drive, and then cancel your subscription. And then who knows, in the future you might need more, you can go back. But that is also a great royalty-free source. But yeah, YouTube Audio Library is my #1 recommendation for everyone out there. So
awesome. OG?
Well, I just searched both of the things that he just said because I didn't know about them. So go ahead and gonna be using that now. Because like for me,
we're all learning here.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
A lot of the like clip compilations I do, and also again video intros, I do use music, and I really like including music in those. It's slow when it's clip compilations because you don't want things interfering with like the audio of it. But I honestly, YouTube has a lot of non-copyright. There are specific channels that do have like non-copyright, free to use sort of music, and a lot of what I use comes from that. Really, that's like honestly just that seems to be like a really just good library in itself. A lot of if you're gonna just look up free non-copyright music, a lot of it is weirdly enough not free. They says it's free, it's not. It's just a lie, or it's just like not exactly like what you're looking for. So for me, again, like the primary thing I use is just there are specific channels that are on YouTube, and just grabbing the music from that. And that's really, I save all of it. I have a library of music just on my hard drive, just like you were saying before. And so sometimes I just have days where I'm just like, all right, we're going to sit down for like 30 minutes, an hour, and just look up music. So I just have I don't use the same things over and over for people or anything like that, just to keep it fresh a little bit. But other than that, yeah, definitely those two that I totally knew about before this, I am also recommending.
Yeah, fantastic. Kip, any issues navigating like DMCA for you, and like where do you get your copyright free sounds and audio from?
For me, like I work for a YouTuber who constantly has to deal with demonetization and then copyright issues and stuff. So we also need to keep in mind that like on YouTube, we still don't know if it's a myth or not, but like apparently if you use copyright content under 5 seconds, it's okay. Apparently, but sometimes you just don't need to take that risk. But there's also a great source that I use for my streaming stuff as well, Epidemic Sound. Like I absolutely love the website. It has like sound effects and music and everything. And then there's still the very overused website that you'll definitely have heard over YouTube everywhere. The Kevin, how do you say his name? Kevin MacLeod or something?
Yeah, it's MacLeod.
Songs, the copyright-free ukulele songs and all that, and on incompetech.com. Like that's a great source to start on. Like you'll get the overused songs, but you'll have something at least to build up to. Like you kind of just want to start on like use the things everyone uses and then invest in something you pay for, like Epidemic Sound, to make your sound more professional. I personally use Epidemic Sound, and if you're a creator that you work for, as an account, they can link it to their Twitch and YouTube, and it will get whitelisted and stuff. So and it's very affordable to do. So I would definitely go for that if you could.
Absolutely. And somehow we are actually running out of time. I cannot believe how fast this show has gone by. So real quick, we want to go around the room. One good, solid, strong tip that you have for anyone who is an aspiring video editor or wants to get into the space that you guys are currently in. Any good tip that you want to provide to the people here on StreamerSquare, starting with you, Dimoak, what would you say to someone who wants to get into video editing and working with content creators?
Right. I think professionalism is like the biggest thing. Remember that when you're doing this, especially on the Twitch environment, you're your own business, essentially. You're trying to market yourself as an editor. And I think you always need to keep that in mind. And that's why I think it's important to create a really good reel. And I also have a website that I can put examples of thumbnail work or graphic design or motion graphics, all that stuff. And it's, I think keeping yourself in that kind of professional vein and treating yourself like you are a business, like you are somebody who deserves these things and will work for them is really important. And I think a lot of people see that and they'll take you a lot more seriously and they will take your content a lot more seriously. So just keep that in mind.
Kip, what about you?
First of all, don't be intimidated by other editors. Just do whatever you want to do and it will happen eventually. And also make sure to just build up a friendly relationship with people that you work with, because if you become friends with these people, you'll understand their content better and things will just get easier and easier and things will be so much more fun to do. So don't be overly serious with everyone. Just be like, hey, we work together. I don't work for you or you don't work for me. We work together. This is a friendship and we're going to get there together. And that is my biggest tip, actually.
Awesome. And OG?
Yeah, I mean, these are both like really, really good things. So I emphasize those a lot. Again, with the whole professionalism thing, just like having just like make yourself known, put faith in yourself and make yourself a reel, make yourself a website. Wix is a free website and it's pretty good. So I really like it. Just literally just have fun, like with your content and with what you're doing. If you're not having fun, then that's not, what are you doing? Like if you're not, because every time I do a project for anyone, that's what I like to do. That is, I am excited to do their project. I want to work with them. It's really just a mix of just everything that has been said and then some. As long as you're happy with the work that you're doing, then keep going and keep, making those relationships, keep, networking, building up, ask. And you know what, even like Kip and I have become pretty good friends, just talking to each other. So, and we try to recommend, other people to each other and trying to see if we don't like have a spot for like a person, like, that it's redirected to someone else. So like even being friends with other editors, it's always a good thing too. But yeah, I'm all over the place, but what I mean.
I think we all are. I wanted to thank you all so much for being here today. It has been an absolutely fantastic episode. We're going to be wrapping up here right now, actually, because we're getting ready to get into Dan Otaj's show, Stream of Thought. He's going to be talking about channel trailers, which is a really cool topic. So definitely stick around. If you're here right now, do not leave. You can't leave. Actually, you're contractually obligated to stay to watch Dan Otaj's Stream of Thought. Before we go, I want to say some final goodbyes to our three guests and where you can find them. And also, before we do that, actually, I wanted to give a special shout out to both Wes and Rini, who actually created Behind the Streams. This is our last show of the year. This show actually debuted this year here on StreamerSquare. So big shout out. Let's get some applauses in chat if you can to Wes and Rini for the wonderful job creating this show. This show has been awesome. We talked about modding and emotes and art and everything in between, the behind the streams of your favorite streams. So let's start here with Dimoak. Where can people find you and your work?
Yeah, for sure. Twitter.com/ZMGEHL is going to be the #1 spot. It links to my website, links to my YouTube, links to my reel, links to all that. So that is going to be the primo spot. And then, of course, any of the streamers I edit for, who are also linked on my Twitter, their content, or my content that I edit for them is usually posted there. So yeah, it's going to be #1 for me.
Absolutely. OG, what about you? Where can the people find you and your work?
Right on Twitter, TheOGBojangles on any platform, honestly. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, even though I haven't posted a lot about myself just yet there. But I'm still working on that. But a lot of the info that you'll find is going to be right on my Twitter. It's going to have my site on like the pin post. It's going to have Twitch. It's going to have all that good stuff. So if you want to check us all out, just go right ahead and do so. We'll be right here.
Yeah. And Kip, where can the people find you and your wonderful work?
Oh, thank you very much. My Twitch is Kippesoep, and my Twitter is Kippesoep001. So yeah, feel free to come and say hi.
The people will. Go follow Kip. Go follow all of these people. They're all wonderful. You can find me at twitch.tv/AsToldByDylan. I am streaming Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm basically a full-time Star Wars streamer now. I'm actually working on fixing all of this to get it all Star Wars-y up this weekend. So that's where you can find me. Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, stay tuned. Do not go anywhere. Dana Taj is coming up next with Stream of Thought, talking about channel trailers, excuse me. This has been it for Behind the Streams for 2020. Thank you guys so much for being here. We want to wave goodbye to the people and say we will see you in 2021. Have a wonderful day. Dana Taj is next. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.